How you doing, everybody? It has been a little bit since I put together a pickups video, and one of the reasons for that is I just haven't been very active. I don't work over the summer, so money tends to be a little bit tight. But I had to make an exception this past weekend. I went to Retro Games Plus in Newington, Connecticut for an event called ConnGo, which is a gathering of fellow video game collectors and sellers. We get together inside the store, we have things that we look to sell or trade, and we can buy things from those other sellers or from Retro Games Plus itself. It was a really fun event. I talked a little bit about Retro World Expo, and I'll touch on that towards the end of the video. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about the things that I did pick up, because I did pick up a few things, and I'm excited to share those. The first of these is a Dreamcast VMU. It is a green color. I know it's tough to see in the light there. It does have a battery in it that does work. It's not new. The tab in the back was pulled, but nonetheless, it is nice to have one of these in green that's in the box. And that goes with my blue one that I have that is still sealed and still has the tab in. So this was a nice get, and especially considering that I like to play Dreamcast sports games, and each game takes up pretty much a full VMU by itself. Having spares is never a bad idea. Sticking with the Sega theme, I also picked up this Sega Genesis first-party 6-button controller. It's no secret that I don't like the Genesis 3-button controller's D-pad. I think it is terrible. It makes playing games on it, with it, very difficult. It doesn't feel very precise. It feels too loose, too spongy. But in talking to people online, especially friends on Twitter, they've talked about the 6-button controller and how the D-pad is better. Now, I don't know how I feel about that yet because I haven't used this controller, at least not yet. But nonetheless, I did see this. It's in good shape. I had been thinking about getting one anyway, so it was nice to get this from Retro Games Plus. So there you go. I now have a 6-button controller, so when I do play Sega Genesis games, I can try this out. Okay. This was one of my big gets. I paid $35 for this. I regret it zero. It is sealed, to pull a quote from Pat the NES Punk. It is completely brand new, never been touched, never been opened. Had a bunch of dust on it. That's how long it's been sitting there. This is a PlayStation 2 DualShock 2 controller, brand new. It is a slate gray controller, still in the box, never been opened. I go through PlayStation 2 controllers probably more than I should, and the reason is maybe because I'm too tough on the analog sticks, so the analog will float a little to the left or a little bit to the right. So it's always good to have a new controller on hand so that when I can't get around the analog difficulty anymore, I can just go ahead and open up a brand new controller. And these are getting to be more and more difficult to find the actual first-party ones. So this is a really cool find. I was very excited to get it, and I was willing to pay the price that was being asked. And I got cut a good deal on it, actually. So I'm very happy about that. So $35 for a brand new PS2 DualShock 2 controller that I can use either with the PS2 or with my original PlayStation. Had to put that down on the floor. Okay. Speaking of sealed, I have this. This is a sealed Lunar Silver Star Story Complete demo CD from 1999, I believe. I have the game fully complete, the map, the bonus disc, everything. It's in great shape. I found that at Game Exchange a couple of years ago. But I knew there was a demo CD out there, and I had seen it posted on a couple of Facebook groups, and it was really nice to find this at ConnGo, and of course I did pick it up. I paid $15 for it. Some may think that I overpaid, but again, it is sealed. It's in great shape, and it'll be fun to open this up on camera when I do a future unwrapped video, so I can actually use it. So this is a really exciting find, and I have one more demo disc that I'll get to a little bit later that's not sealed, but still I have a very soft spot for demo CDs. They're something from the past that I miss a lot. Getting demo CDs either when you pre-order a game or sometimes getting them in the mail was certainly exciting, and it's nice to still see people with these around. One more sealed thing to share with you, and this will be something that very few of you will care about, and I understand. This is a sealed copy of NBA 2K2 for the GameCube. Um, when Sega dropped the Dreamcast like it was hot, decided to get out of hardware and go into software only, one of the priorities was to bring their 2K Sports Series to other platforms. The PS2, I have a version of it for that. The original Xbox, which I don't have, and of course the GameCube. And the fact that it's sealed was really nice because I do have some things. I now have a nice little pile to open up for an unwrapped video at a later time. I paid $10 for this, which may be a little bit much to some people, but again, I knew who the seller was, very cool person, and I was willing to pay that for this item. So, sealed NBA 2K2. I did get one more GameCube game and a little bit of background on this. I am getting a Nintendo Switch. I know that seems like a non sequitur, but stick with me for a minute. As a matter of fact, the Switch is on a FedEx truck and will be arriving probably in the next 18 hours from when I'm recording this video. One of the reasons that I wanted to get a Switch is because Super Mario Odyssey is coming. Now, I do have some reservations about Odyssey. I am not the biggest fan of sandbox games. Super Mario 64 is not in my top 5 Mario games because it's just too open. And then this game, I've played a little bit, and I really didn't care for it all that much. But it's been years since I've really given it a solid go. And as it turns out, one of the main people who worked on this particular game is the producer for Super Mario Odyssey. So I want to see some of the mindset. This, of course, is Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube. It's a Player's Choice Edition. I paid $15 for this. It is complete. The disc is in good shape, and the manual is in good shape. So I have to give this a try and see if my opinion on the game has changed any over the last, wow, has it been 15 years? Yeah, so the last 15 years or so. So Super Mario Sunshine, $15 is a good deal for that game, regardless of whether it's Player's Choice or not. I was talking about another demo disc earlier. Here it is. This is the demo for Thousand Arms from Atlas. Thousand Arms, if you've never heard of the game, is an RPG. It's a turn-based RPG. It also has some dating sim elements in it as well. I do have discs only, unfortunately, not complete, but I do have this game, and I had forgotten that there was a demo for this. So when I saw it in a bin for one of the vendors at ConnGo, and he told me that he just wanted $5 for this, yeah, that's not even a question. I'm going to go ahead and get that 9 days out of 9. Haven't tried it yet, so I don't know whether it's any. I don't know whether it's really going to do me any good to play it, but it's still nice to have. Moving on to PS2, I did pick up 2 more games. I know with my library of PS2 games, it's pretty rare to come across games that I don't own that I'm still looking for. But this one intrigued me because of the kind of game that it is. This is Lifeline, which is primarily a voice-activated game where you actually have to talk into a headset and issue commands to the character to be carried out on screen. Now, I've never played this, so I'll be curious to try it and to try and figure it out. Some of the reviews I've read have said that the voice recognition is pretty inconsistent, but I'm looking forward to trying it anyway. Not only did I get this game, but part of the deal, and I'm going to try and show this on camera without making a mess. Part of the deal was getting the actual headset itself, which I don't own. And I'm excited to own one of these. I picked up a copy of SOCOM that came with a headset, but unfortunately the headset foam just disintegrated in my hands, and I wasn't able to use the headset. So with this, now I can actually use the headset not only for this game. Let's see if I can get that over there. Not only for this game, but also for the Karaoke Revolution games, which I have many of those, and also for SOCOM itself. So it was a pretty cool find, and I got this and the game for $15, which I thought was a pretty good deal. That wire is just so long, though, it's going to be unwieldy when I use it. And the other PS2 game that I picked up was the other big purchase of the night. I paid $35 for this. This is a game that I've always wanted to play, and I've just not been able to find it. Uh, and when I did find it, I was never quick enough to pick it up. The last time I saw this game, I actually saw it loose, disc only, and it was when I was working at GameStop in Arizona. And I didn't pick it up because I didn't have the money that day, and it was gone the next day. I should have held it, I know. This is God Hand for the PlayStation 2, released in 2006 and developed by Clover Studios. Yes, the Virtua Joe people, I believe. This game is divisive, to say the least. Some people think it's crap. Other people think that it's a fantastic beat-em-up. And I want to find out for myself. And when I found this, and again, just like Lifeline, it is complete. It has the disc. It has the manual. The disc is in immaculate shape. I said, sure, why not? The seller is fantastic. He had a lot of great stuff that if I had more money, I probably would have given him much, much more money. But having this and having Lifeline and the headset was more than enough for me. I was very happy about that. So those are the console games. I did pick up some handheld games as well. I have been really big on getting into handhelds over the summer. I have a couple of Game Boy Advance SPs now that have working batteries. I had one before, but the battery just died. And I even had trouble with it keeping it plugged in. So I now have a couple. I also have one more coming that is one of the brighter screen options, the Pearl Blue one. That is coming later this week. I'm excited about that. But you can't really have a handheld without having some games for it, and I found a few games at Retro Games Plus that I wanted to own. The first of these being Ice Climber, part of the classic NES series. Ice Climber for a lot of people is a very average at best game, but for me, Ice Climber has personal significance because when I was first playing the NES at a friend's house in Worcester back in the later 1980s, Ice Climber is one of the games that he had, so we actually played that together. So it's more out of nostalgia than out of just being a fantastic game, but that aside, I actually do enjoy playing the game quite a bit. So Ice Climber. Also, I have here Mario Pinball Land. Now, I had picked this up from a local seller not too long ago. Unfortunately, the version was a bootleg. It happens. I also didn't pay very much for it. So now I have the actual game, which is kind of nice. I'm a big pinball head. This is from few studios who went on, I believe, to do Metroid Prime Pinball for the DS, which is absolutely fantastic. So this is a cool get. There's also Virtua Tennis, which is a really solid version of Virtua Tennis for a handheld. Sure, the graphics take quite a hit. You have to do some compromising there, but the gameplay is where it's at, and the gameplay is really quite good. And there's quite a bit to do, considering this is just a GBA cart. So they did a pretty good job of shrinking this down. And then the last of the GBA games that I picked up, and the one that I was most excited to find, this is, let me lift it up, this is NHL Hitz 2003, which is a 2-on-2 plus goalies hockey game that doesn't look quite as good as its console counterparts, but the gameplay is fantastic. There are some voice samples from Timmy Kitzrow in there, and it's just fun to play in very short spurts. It's an arcade sports game, which is right up my alley. I love playing those. So this was a really nice find. I had been looking at it online, and I was kind of on the fence about getting it, but now I own it, so I don't have to look anymore. I also picked up, and the last of the handheld games that I picked up, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Follow the Foot Clan, a game that I owned when I had my Game Boy back in 1991, a game that I really enjoyed. My first two Game Boy games were NBA All-Star Challenge, well, aside from Tetris, because that came with the system, but I had NBA All-Star Challenge, which sucked, and I had this game, which was a lot of fun. Turtles in 1991 were still pretty popular, and it was fun to play it, especially when you had headphones on where you could hear the stereo separation with the music. Was really, really cool. And the other reason that I was happy to find that was because earlier in the summer, I had picked up TMNT2 Back from the Sewers, which is also really, really good. So now I have the first two Turtles games. I've heard that the third one, which I think is called Mutant Rescue or something like that, is a little bit different. But I do like the very linear left to right beat 'em up style of the first two games. So that was nice. And last but not least, I picked this game up because I heard GameSack talk about it. I heard Ian from the CU podcast talk about this on Twitter. I've heard other friends talk about this game, and since now I have the ability to play original Game Boy games, it made sense. Once I saw it at a good price, I had to get it. This is Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge for the Game Boy, a game that has an epic soundtrack that looks really, really good for the time, and I think has very level amounts of challenge. It's fair. It doesn't feel like it's unfair or overly difficult. It's a very fair adventure and a lot of fun to play. And again, the music is just phenomenal. So Castlevania 2, again, thanks to GameSack, thanks to Ian, thanks to my friends on Twitter for really turning me on to this game because I missed it originally. So it's nice to be playing it all these years later and enjoying it like it was new. So those are the pickups. Again, I have a Switch coming in just 18 hours or so, probably less than that. I'm very excited about that. Mario Kart 8 is the physical game that I'm getting with it. I also got myself a 128 gig SD card, so I'm going to be all set with memory for a little bit. I'm going to be downloading Namco Museum as well, and then we'll kind of see what happens from there. The Switch is the first Nintendo system that I have bought new since the Wii, so it has been almost 10, 11 years now since I bought a Nintendo system new. I skipped the Wii U entirely. So now I'm getting back on board the train. The portability aspect is interesting, although I'll be carrying it in a backpack. I'm not going to be putting it in my pocket anytime soon. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it is and how it looks and how it controls, and of course, playing the games on it in the future. And then Madden comes out on Tuesday, Madden 2018, which I'm excited about getting. And then the new GBA, not the new one, but the special brighter screen edition, which is going to be a really nice have as well. And then next week, Yakuza Kiwami comes out, which I'm also very excited about. So things are very, very busy. And then the next couple of minutes here, and I'm not going to stick on this too long because this video is already taking a while. Retro World Expo announced their first two guests. I had the honor of doing so at ConnGo on Saturday night. So I'll share those on camera really quickly. Pixel Dan, Dan Erdley, big in the toy scene, but also very, very knowledgeable in terms of video games. So having that dual knowledge makes him an easy fit for Retro World Expo, as he's been the first 2 years we've had the show. As genuine and as awesome a person off camera as he is on, and we are lucky to have him come back to New England. He's an excellent person. I hope that everyone will get a chance to meet him in Hartford in October. The other guest that I'm super excited about is Norm Caruso, the gaming historian, will be returning to New England for a third straight year. Norm, of course, just released his first Blu-ray with his episodes and content on there. He is super knowledgeable, super down to earth. I cannot rave enough about Norm and what he does, and it is a privilege to have him come back. So Norm and Dan are our two guests that we've announced first. We have more coming over the next couple of weeks that I'll be releasing on social media as I get word from the powers that be. So you won't have to wait much longer if you're interested in who's coming to Retro World Expo. And I'll be making a video about that very shortly. So that's it for pickups for now. I thank you very much for watching. I promise I'm going to stop it before 20 minutes have elapsed. We'll do this again when I get more stuff to show off. And of course, I'll do an unwrap video to unwrap some of these sealed things that I have at a later time. So until that next time comes, everybody, thanks for watching and take good care of yourselves and each other. We'll do it again soon.